All right, friends, welcome back to the Blessed Family Podcast. Hope you're doing well. Hope you're encouraged. Hope that the hearts of your children, the hearts of the fathers are being turned to each other. Man, so many things I want to encourage you with. Just off the top of my head, unplug the screens for a while, get outside, spend time, go on a vacation, a good one, with your children. Talk to them, love them, listen to them, play with them. It's such an amazing opportunity. Such a great thing. Such a great thing. Well, friends, I know I've been plugging it. I'm going to continue to plug it. November 10th through 15th, we have our family camp, East Texas, Grapeland. Sign up today, jareddodd.com. It's going to be a blast. All right, friends. Well, today I've just got, this is just a layup. This is such a great topic. It's a fun topic. It's kind of a given on this podcast, but why not? I'm going to talk to you about why I prefer home education. Why I prefer homeschooling. Now, I'm a fan of private school. I think private school is great because it gets people out of public school. In government education, that's where I think that's unbiblical, and there's so many reasons why. Not going to go into that today. But private school, great. In my opinion, homeschooling, look, I think it's better, but that's painting with a broad brush because for some people, depending on your circumstance, private school may be better. And just to be transparent, there have been times, I think a total of 3 semesters, where some of my children went to a private school. It was a 2 or 3 day a week school because where we were at, we needed that resource, that tool. So I'm not saying private school is bad. Private school is good. But I just want to tell you why I personally, for me and my family, we prefer homeschooling. All right. First of all, in homeschooling, you control 100% what your children learn. 100%. If you don't want, look, if they go to public school, if they go to private school, you don't get to choose the curriculum. You can get on the board, this and that. The cool thing is homeschooling, you are the board. Oh, it's so cool. You get to choose what they learn. Now that's the pro. But here's the con. With each of these, there are potential cons. The con is you may not know all that they should learn. So yes, homeschooling, you get to choose what your kids learn. But what if there are things they need to learn that you don't know about? So you need to be educated and you need to be humble. Let me give you an example. I'm not saying they have to know this to be Christians in God's kingdom, but I would encourage, I'm going to pick a semi-controversial one. I would encourage that your children know about some of the epic poems of history that were completely pagan, like the Iliad and the Odyssey. And the Aeneid. Beowulf, by the way, is very Christian. But I think that they need to know that. I think they need to be familiar with Dante, even though he has one of the books of the Divine Comedy of that trilogy is Purgatorio, which is purgatory, which doesn't exist for us Protestants. And that there's things in his portrayal of hell and heaven that aren't real, obviously. It's a poem. But I would really encourage you to teach your kids Homer, Virgil, and Dante. Now, do they need to have that to be successful Christians? Of course not. But man, I think it really helps. And I'm not going to tell you why. I'm just going to give you an example. There are things that my kids need or that would benefit them that I don't know about yet. There are things we're doing now in our homeschooling that we weren't doing 2 or 3 or 10 or 15 years ago. You know what's cool about having kids when you're old is Jared, my firstborn, went through my home. Birth to 18 or 19, went off to college. So he went through the home. He went through the whole thing. And after he left, I had another kid named Hazel. So I could come back and ask him, hey, Jared, you went through Dodd Academy. What would you change? And for instance, he said, you should have focused a little more on writing and you should have focused a whole lot more on music. The next day, I went and signed 6 of my kids up for music lessons. That's what I'm talking about. You get to control what you teach, but you need to be learning what your children should have. All right, next point. You can be together all the time. That's a pro of homeschooling. You can be together all the time. Private school, if it's 5 days a week, is what, between 14 to 16,000 hours? No, Did I say that right? 14 to 16,000 hours. 14 to 16,000 hours. You get that back when you homeschool. Now, that can be a con if your family can't stand each other. So you've got to make sure that you've got your kids' hearts, that you spend time with them, that you bless them. And so you get to be together. That is awesome. Here's a big one. This is a big one. Homeschooling, you avoid the bad company that corrupts good morals. Man, that's a big one. You've really got to count the cost with that if you public school, even private school, even get involved in organized sports, right? Now, I have a son, Jedediah, who plays football, and he's on a homeschool league. And we know there might be some bad company there. And so, but he's 15, so he's in that, where we need to start teaching him how to deal with that, right? And you push back and you say, well, Jared, shouldn't they be learning how to deal with bad company even from the earliest stages? Absolutely. Don't worry. There's enough bad company. There's enough sin just in your home to deal with this, if your home's anything like mine. But man, bad company corrupts good morals. Many Christian children leave the faith simply because of the company they keep. When you homeschool, you choose 100% who that company is. All right, what's another great reason for homeschooling? Thinking outside the box of only academics. What do I mean by that? When we think of school, if your kids go to private school, it's going to be academic. And academics are great. Nothing wrong with that. But with homeschooling, you get to think outside the box and say, okay, I know my kids need history and they need some science and math and English. That's great. But what else do they need? Well, let me give you some ideas. I've got right here a book, The Essential 16 Qualities That Set Children Up for Success. At the end, there's a list of skills, 100 skills. Don't worry, I'm not going to go through all of them. But there are categories. Maybe you could teach your children how to communicate. Teach them how to make small talk. Teach them how to converse with people. Teach them how to look people in the eye and shake hands and things like that. Teach them how to write letters. Teach them survival skills. You want your kid to have survival skills? It's a great opportunity to hang out. Hey, let's go camp, but let's go camp and actually backpack and hike, and let's learn how to filter water. Let's learn how to catch, you know what? Something I want my kids to know how to do, and we're working on this. We went fishing last night. I want them to know how to go catch fish and cook them, and well, the eating's the easy part, but I want them to know how to do that. I want them to know how to shoot a deer, dress it, and cook it, and eat it. I want them to know how to plant a garden, harvest it, and preserve the food. Those are great skills that private and public school probably won't teach you. Obviously, don't worry, private schoolers. You can do that in your spare time, but you don't have as much time. So that's a pro for homeschooling. Homemaking, man, teach them how to cook. Teach them how to sew. Teach them how to manage a house. Teach them bookkeeping. Teach them medical skills. Teach them how to decorate. Man. When I left out, look, I have amazing parents, and they taught me, the main thing my parents taught me was how to talk to people and how to respect people. I'm so thankful for that. It's a huge part of who I am. But other than that, and there's other things, I didn't leave the house with any skills. I didn't know how to cook. I didn't know how to do anything. I've had to learn. You can teach your children up. You can set your child up for success. What about teaching them how to change the oil in a car, how to change a tire? Once again, you can do this as private and public schoolers, but it's usually not on the radar as much as in homeschooling because you have more time. Academics only last a couple hours a day, and then you're like, well, let's do something else. Let's learn self-defense. Let's learn how to shoot guns. Let's learn how to make knives. Let's learn how to, there's all these things. Let's learn how to build. Let's learn how to build a table, build bookshelves. Guess what? Toilets clogged. Let me teach you how to unclog a toilet. That might sound funny, but there are adults who don't know how to do these things. Let's learn first aid and medical skills. Let's learn chess. Let's learn theology. Let's sit down and watch. They'll have aspects of theology in schools if they're Christian schools, but Let's sit down and watch podcasts with James White and Doug Wilson, better yet, R.C. Sproul. Let's learn from these great men. Let's learn music, right? You can do an hour, hour and a half of music every day if you homeschool. So anyways, that's a great benefit of homeschooling, right? To think outside the box of just academics. Another one is you have the freedom to go when you want and where you want, especially if dad has a flexible job. If dad works out of the house and just has to be connected online, you guys can not only homeschool, you can road school. What an opportunity. Man, America has a lot to see. So you can go all around America, look at the Ark, look at Mount Vernon, go out in nature, go to the Alamo, San Jacinto, go to Lewis and Clark museums. I mean, there's all kinds of great stuff to do in this beautiful country. Here's a big one. Kids can work early. This is one that is pro homeschool all the way. Today is what, June 2nd maybe? 2026, as I'm filming this, recording this. Today, Isaiah has his own business. He and Job's 13. Job went out and worked with Isaiah and got paid. So what is Job learning? He's learning at 13 how to work hard, how to be a part of a business, how to make a wage. Ivy is about to leave to go work at the coffee shop. Jared left before I got up this morning doing landscaping in Burnett. And Jedediah tonight is working at a restaurant nearby. And it's like, man, and he's 15. So I've got 13, 15, 17, 19, 20 all working. And Jared and Isaiah have been working since they were 14, 15, 16 years old. Sometimes 20 hours a week at 15. Why? Because they have the time. And when you look historically, that's what men and women, especially focusing on men, did. I mean, at 15, they were working. They were working. Now, do we still homeschool them? Absolutely. But homeschooling, once again, you can do the academics in 90 minutes a day. So the amount of school stays the same. The transfer from play to work changes. So Abraham, for instance, if you give him an 8-hour day, he's playing 7 hours of that. Job at 13 might be playing 2 hours, working the rest. So there's a transfer. The school stays the same. The play goes down. The work goes up. You can do that when you homeschool. It's awesome. So you got skills. You got time. You got freedom to go where you want to go. I mean, look, homeschooling is about freedom. Freedom to learn what you want, but you have to know what to learn. If you're passionate, like we aren't big into Latin. If you're a Latin family, man, you can kill it. You can learn all that. You can go to Mexico if you want your kids to learn Spanish. You can go to Mexico for 6 weeks and do an immersive language camp, or 2 weeks, 1 week, and they'll learn more in 1 to 2 weeks there than they will in 1 to 2 years of high school Spanish. I know because I experienced it. That's our story. That's why we're fluent in Spanish. We aren't fluent in Spanish because of school. It's because of going to Mexico, immersion school. It's freedom. It's freedom in what they do. It's freedom in what they learn. It's really cool. But you have to actually do it. Just having a kid home and calling it homeschooling, if that's all it is, can be the worst thing in the world. It would be better for them to be in private school, 16,000 hours, than just to be sitting around at home. So you can't just bring them home. You have to actually do it. You have to be teachable. You, mom and dad, have to learn how to do it better. It should always be changing. It should always be changing because you need to perfect it. You need to, and times change. As the kid gets older, things change. But man, it's great. It's an adventure, and it's an adventure that is family-centric, that protects the hearts of your children. So I'd highly recommend it. That's just my opinion. Guys, love you very much as always. Blessings to each of you. November 10th through 15th, East Texas. Hope to see you there. Sign up today, jareddodd.com. If you have any questions, comments, reach out to us, doddclan7@gmail.com. Don't forget, we are full-time missionaries for you. We'll see you next time. Love you very much. Bye-bye.